how to. If you like this, if you found this useful, please like and share with your friends.
They can hear us. They can hear us. Oh my god. Never know when we're muted. Shut up, Saps.
Everybody just shut up.
Shut up. Just quiet.
Flaming death.
Oh, and there we go.
All right.
Nice.
So how to attract your ideal partner. I think to kind of like pre-frame here, I can say personally, like I am so glad that I'm not in the dating world right now. Like it kind of seems like the wild, wild west out there.
Especially during COVID.
Yeah. So it's just a crazy time. And, I think that, there's maybe going to be viewers that are listening here that are, not happy with where they're at. They're trying to find that right person and looking for specific qualities, but maybe just don't know or aren't aware of themselves or just, what's happening right now to get what it is that they're looking for. So what are your guys' thoughts?
Some pre-qualifying questions would be, did you get vaccinated? That's probably the number one, right? So I think it's so odd to even consider that as a fact, as I'm pursuing someone new who I've never met before, online probably, and then for the first time you're like, are they vaccinated?
What if they say no?
I mean, it could be.
Is that a deal breaker?
But yeah,
Is that a deal breaker?
Is that a deal breaker for you?
Probably. I mean, you know what? I just got vaccinated, so I'm going to be quite frank with that. So I don't think it would have been a deal breaker, but I'm sure there are other people that think that way. You know? It is crazy.
Okay.
It is interesting. I would hate to be dating right now.
I think even pandemic withstanding, though, we've seen over years just, as technology has grown, you've got this culture that's used to, swipe left, swipe right, and like just no accountability, right? Like ghosting, there's no problem getting in a new relationship and then disappearing 5 days later or whatever.
I've never been on a dating app, though. Have you guys been on a dating app?
Yes.
No.
Really?
You have?
Yes.
No way!
you've been on a
I
dating app?
didn't know this. Yes, you did. We all knew this.
Yes.
Did we?
There's a funny story behind it.
Because of
tell
you
us,
know
tell
who.
us. Sorry.
Okay, this was
It's
7
coming
years
back.
ago. It's a hilarious story now. 6, 7 years ago. Yeah, 6, 7 years ago. I get called from Molly okay, let's go back.
Rewind.
6 months from there.
Okay.
I was on Tinder. I was single, and I was like, it was the new app when it came out. It's the new thing, and all my girlfriends were like, it's kind of like a game. So really like
Yeah.
and even it was funny. You would go to a bar and you just see a guy just like talking to someone, just doing this.
No way.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
100%.
ridiculous.
Or they would just like give it to their guy friend and just like,
Doing his LOAs.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so the way that Tinder works, as everyone knows,
This
is
isn't
that
going well.
you have to swipe either right or left if you like the person, and they also have to swipe right or left if they like the person. And then you can
be a really good story.
And then you create the message, and so you start talking to someone. And I never, let's just put this out there, I never met up with anyone from Tinder, ever. It was always just like talking here and there, whatever. I get called from Molly for an interview, and I get brought back from Sandra for a second round interview. And for me, it was like you have to shadow someone, and I was shadowing someone in the sales team, and then I would be in for their morning meeting. And I go in, and she kind of like pushes me through the crowd, and I'm like in front. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And I like grab my notebook, and I look up, and I'm like, oh my God, where do I know this person from? And then I was thinking, and then it like hits me, and I was like, no. That was the main person I was talking to on Tinder.
That is crazy.
Wow.
In
What
our
about this
company.
guy captured people's attention? I mean,
He was cool. He
Did you
was
get
a
a picture?
baseball player. He
Oh.
he was cool. He was whatever. He likes country music, baseball player, whatever. And I was like,
So
oh
then
my God.
apparently a lot of girls.
That is so
I
crazy
never
in there.
mention it. I get hired on, and it's just like avoid at all cost.
Oh, wow.
At all
Interesting.
cost.
So did you guys have trouble looking at each other, like when you're walking down the hallway?
He apparently told everyone of the senior leaders that we had dated and this and that, and it wasn't until our senior leader trip to Havasu that it came out, and I was like, oh my God, I'm mortified. Because I was so like, I want to be professional. I even wore
Did you actually-
these giant bikini bottoms because my mom was like, you can't wear the tiny ones because you got to be professional. And it's like everything came out that trip. And
funny.
That makes no sense.
yeah,
By the way.
it was like mortifying at
What makes no
first.
sense?
Sorry, Miss Menzor, but yeah,
What?
that didn't make sense. The whole bikini thing.
Oh, because it was just keep
Yeah.
professional. It was also a joke between me and Sandra and Molly, but
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't date anyone but it's just a
That
funny
is
story.
such a funny like dating app story though.
That was so long ago. I
Yeah.
almost forgot about that.
Yeah.
Small world.
yeah. Super small.
And everyone was like, "Oh, I heard you dated him," and I was like, "I never dated him.
He
We
exaggerated.
just
That's typical guy move, like to exaggerate what actually happened.
right."
Yeah. Like,
blow it out of proportion.
yeah.
Have you ever done
Typical.
that? Have you ever blown a story out of proportion like that?
When I was younger, yeah.
In regards to dating women, or
In regards to dating women.
yeah,
What did you say?
yeah. What was your biggest lie?
It wasn't around a group of people, but
Do
like just
tell,
like
Frank.
Yeah, do tell.
Oh, come
Please
on.
do.
Come
on.
We are scraping the surface.
No capping.
It's a circle of
capping.
trust.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm the one that doesn't cap. You guys cap a lot, by the way.
Oh,
Let's just-
no
let's-
way.
Yeah, let's
We're
just-
following your lead.
Let's hear it.
I really don't want to go into it, to be honest.
Okay, that's fine.
Really
It's
don't want to go
okay.
into it.
We respect that.
Yeah.
Let it be known he
Yes.
doesn't want to go into it.
You know.
Because I can't cap, and I don't want to have to say it. So, but yeah. So, continue the conversation.
So wait, so you were the only one that was on a
forward.
dating app? Nobody else?
No one else has gone on dating
a
apps.
dating app?
No.
I
Nothing.
played around
I
with
have.
it, but nothing like serious.
I
Yeah.
have, yeah. I was on Tinder.
What was?
Yeah, it was
When I
nothing
was, like,
serious.
23 or wait, no, I was like
How- Wait.
25. I'm 34
The
now.
timeline is not.
Yeah, I don't know.
matching
And what?
up.
It came out maybe 10 years ago.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
probably.
8 years ago. I jumped on when it was like.
It gets
new.
weird when you like match with somebody that isn't in your social circle, and you're like, oh,
Oh,
you're on
it's
Tinder?
hilarious. Yeah.
Wait, that is in your social
Yeah,
circle?
yeah, that's in your social circle. It's like
Yeah.
a friend of a friend, and you're like,
But then it's like, are you joking or
yeah,
you
yeah.
really want something?
yeah,
That's so funny.
And then the pickup lines that they give you.
yeah.
This generation.
Why
man.
even
Awful.
use pickup lines? Why?
Awful.
What is the best pickup line that you can do?
Or the
give?
worst. What's the best you've ever heard, and what's the worst?
the best?
I always think they're just fake. Obviously, right? But
They are.
I know, but they're just so funny. They are fake. I understand.
I can't remember any of them, but there's some funny ones out there.
Like the one.
The
where-
number one pickup line that I've used and that works,
That works?
every time. It's not even a pickup line. It's just
Every time, aren't you married?
You still use it, Frank?
Pre-wedding.
Works
At
every
one
time.
point, I actually had to get good at this stuff, but I don't do this. Shit
Okay, so
anymore.
what?
That's how he got his wife.
Got it.
No, that's a different story. She did not want me at all.
So what's a pickup line?
Go ahead.
Hey, I just think you're cute. I wanted to say hi.
That's not a
it.
pickup line.
Well, I said it wasn't a pickup line, but it works a lot. At least they're open for a little
icebreakers?
bit. If they look at me weird, then I'm walking away. But you also have to do hey, I think you're cute. I'm just going to ask you a question, 2 minutes, I'll be gone. Just so, like, there's not this, like, is this guy going to bother me? Is he going to stay around for a long time? So I get that
This
initial.
is why guys get good at sales first.
Sense of
Yes.
urgency. I'll make it quick.
Way earlier.
And then you have the typical objections. I have a boyfriend.
The typical objection.
I'm married, but not.
I'm lesbian.
Like married, but
I've
not.
gotten all those
lesbian.
excuses.
It's very,
Yeah.
It's a very complicated time.
Yeah. Or what was the comeback to that? I think it was like, what was it? Damn it.
To what? To I have a boyfriend?
To have a boyfriend. It was,
So do I.
do you have a test tomorrow? And she said, obviously she'd say no most of the time. Oh, okay. I thought we were talking about things we were cheating on.
Talk about duty and honor.
Walk away. Walk away.
Oh, I'm going to be called out for the rest of this podcast.
Oh my God.
This is why
I would never say that.
I should have shared
That's
strong
so
stances
funny.
initially.
I would have immediately walked away.
Immediately?
I would have been like, Jesus.
So talking about ideal partners, it's safe to say that if a girl is willing to, or a guy, either way, but in this context, is willing to quote unquote cheat on their current boyfriend or girlfriend with you,
Yeah.
Not your
that
person.
is not your ideal.
Okay, but let me clarify this.
Good point.
Because
If
a
that's the
lot
style
of
of
girls, you
relationship.
said this right. A lot of girls just say that because they don't know who you are, and so they just want to give out an objection, so you leave them alone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I can get a laugh somehow, then I have another 30 seconds.
Right.
Pretty much.
You're right.
Yeah. So
You have to
but
be
if-
good looking or
'cause-
funny, and ideally both. And if you're
Right.
not,
Well, let's talk
good-looking,
about
then
that.
you
Let's
really
talk
gotta be
about
funny.
let's talk about the creeper. Like, what's the difference between a
Oh,
creeper
God.
and an attractive guy? Like, they could say the same thing, and one guy's
It's
a
all about
creeper.
the vibe that
Perception.
they,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But also, if you're attracted to that person, whether he's a creep or not.
That's what's so frustrating
Mm-hmm.
as a guy, because you coaching guys around this. Like, you could have two guys say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
The person finds attractive, the other doesn't. The one that's attractive is like, oh, that was so amazing. The one that you don't like or don't think is attractive is a creeper.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
You
how it
gotta have
works.
swag.
it's so rough for guys.
That is so funny.
I could teach a class on this.
Could you?
Teach it.
Teach it.
Well, and
Teach
I
us
think
your
Teach a
ways.
class on this.
in particular with the digital age, with new relationships as a whole, like you don't typically see who the person is entirely, right? Like there's still this layer of I'm going to show you what I think that you want to see, and I'm going to put my best foot forward. And I think that's only like tenfold on
Yeah.
like digital
First impressions.
platforms,
Are you
right? Like
telling
whenever
me your
you're
digital profile is not an accurate representation of who you are? I feel so lied to.
so how
Deceived.
like in this
You
crazy
mean you're not on a yacht every day? What?
Private jet.
you don't travel everywhere? I do travel a lot actually.
We all do.
Yeah. My Instagram is real, but but how do you cut through the bullshit? How do you like really dig deep and figure out
I feel like
who someone is?
women definitely have a harder time cutting through the bullshit.
With guys, you're saying, or
Really?
Yeah. I feel like, yeah.
Explain
Guys-
that.
yeah,
Guys have, yeah. Because, like, I feel like women love idealistically, men
yes.
love realistically. Like, so we look at the practicalities of everything we're looking at.
What do you mean by cutting through? Like, it's hard for women to cut through the like your bullshit. If I was dating you, trying to figure
Yeah,
out like
'cause
the realness.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Because, yeah, like,
So
Oh, like see you, as the
you overly, I feel women overly
You?
value women in general, not all women, okay? But women in general overly value chemistry.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, overly value it to the point where you ignore everything else if there's chemistry.
Right.
Yeah, so it's really dangerous.
wrong.
Well, yeah. Yes and no.
Chemistry
but
is
that's true.
Yeah, I.
But chemistry is developed.
Because that's what you tell your
It can be-
girlfriends. Like, okay, tell me about him. And it's like, well, we both go to the river. We both love football. We both love Chinese
beer.
food
Must be
and
perfect.
beer.
It's a match made in
Oh my
heaven.
gosh, we're so alike.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well, my wife didn't have chemistry for me when we met. I immediately was like, holy she's hot. And then she was like, this guy's weird. I was like, oh, damn it, I made a bad first impression. This sucks. How am I going to get past that? That's my problem. I have bad first impression, so I have to overcome it by being super persistent in a very charming way. So I'm good at like second.
But if you had to
Yeah.
choose, I don't think it has to be a sucker choice. But if you had to choose, I'd rather you have a bad first impression, and then as somebody gets to know you, finds out that you're actually a really amazing dude, versus the opposite, which is where
Oh,
a lot of people get
100%.
stuck and a lot of
Absolutely.
girls get
Right.
conned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what you're saying.
Yes.
The idealistic. It's obvious for the guy.
Yes.
For guys, it's easy. It's obvious to see a guy playing a girl. Normally, guys can be like, dude, the guy's fucking playing you.
That's why you need a
Until-
dad, a brother,
or
somebody, to
who
point out,
loves
hey,
you enough
that
to
guy's-
know.
Yeah.
Can immediately tell. And the reason, and to your point, I think the feminine side of things. No, I'm not moving. Go ahead. Is very idealistic. And one of the reasons for that is it appears that a lot of women find value in being the one that changes the guy. So there's like this internal story dialogue, like, I was the one that made him settle down. I was the one that made him or tamed him or
Which is stupid.
fucking dumb.
Yeah.
But so you're right. There is an idealism to I can make this person better, or I can change this person, or I can help this person, like the cry for help, right? Which is one of the classic boy, I would say, not a man, but boy moves to try to attract girl is the cry for help, right? Because that attracts. There's a certain group of women that are attracted to the boy that needs help.
What does that cry sound like?
That's a different thing. telling your life story, painting this picture of how hard your life is and all the things you've been through that elicits this desire to want to comfort you and to be there for you and be that one that is there for you. It's a classic con, but it fits a storyline, especially in the movies, that it makes a lot of girls get into it.
Well,
but I would say, and to be fair, there is a female version of this to men. But I think every woman who's straight, who's trying to date a guy, needs to have a really good guy friend that can go.
Or a brother or a dad.
Yeah.
Like, that's not, no, guy friend, I don't know. Because,
that you trust.
You're right.
But it's like, because it's generally easy for guys to pick up on the bullshit quick.
Very quick.
Because it's obvious.
Oh.
Because it's.
That guy's trying to get laid. Yeah.
Right.
Now, what do you do? Like you're saying, like they need a dad or a brother or a really good friend. What do you do if the family doesn't like the person you're dating?
There's probably a reason.
Would you listen to what they're saying, or what if you're like, no,
Yes.
this person is exactly what I want?
I would definitely take into consideration, because there's certain things that dudes understand that you'll never get. You'll never understand. We know, just like you with girls, like know, oh, she's probably after the wrong thing, right? There's certain things you would know with like a brother or like a family member that you're just like, there's something off there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, moms are really good at that too for men. Although they can be overly judgmental of the woman too.
Yeah, you have to be careful with that.
But there's insight. There's things you see that the other party is not likely looking at, because they're all up in the chemical reaction of, oh, this feels so good.
But chemistry is bullshit. I think chemistry should not be considered as high as it is.
From a evolutionary standpoint, though, chemistry seems incredibly important, because that's usually what syncs people up.
That's people get.
Compels the drive to fuck.
I think you're being very biased right now in your particular perspective, because you're saying.
Let me explain.
Okay.
So, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead if you want.
No, I cut you off. It's okay.
Okay. So what happens is, if you have immediate chemistry, usually, everything's manufactured with dudes. Everything. You understand that everything's manufactured with dudes. Chemistry is manufactured. Chemistry is bullshit. My wife had no chemistry for me. I eventually took her out, took all her friends out, bought them all dinner. Immediate chemistry. Oh, maybe I should give him a chance. And then it turned into something more. But the thing is, it's manufactured. If you have a chemistry with a guy, it's because the guy learned social skills, went out with hundreds of girls, was like, okay, this is how I have to do things. And you think of it as chemistry. For us, it's like 1,000 moves of like, I need to work out today. I need to have the energy I need to have. I need to be social. I need to talk. I need to be gregarious and outgoing. Even though me and Sabs,
I don't think all guys think that. To be 100% honest,
no. His point is taken. Boys who are generally trying to get laid fall into
which is
that
every
camp.
boy at some point.
I am saying boys, not men.
Yeah.
But which boys behave that way.
Well, every man's a boy at some point.
Correct.
Yes.
But the bigger part and the deeper part of that is the chemical experience that one is feeling is simply because that's a reflection of their inner world, of their blueprint of what love is supposed to look like. It actually has nothing to do with the person. How do we know that? Well, what's the first thing you do when the relationship gets on the rocks? You try to replace them with someone else that fits that same need. It's not the person, it's your internal blueprint. So this may sound really silly, but if you really understood this, you could fall in love with a tree, a dog, an animal, because all you're doing is projecting your internal view of the world onto something else.
Have you ever fell in love with a tree?
Once. It was a very old, wise tree.
Yeah.
was it on the mountain
with some big old nubs.
He was hanging out with that tree all day.
Very deep.
Why does he like that tree so much? Why is he always reading a book by it?
But here, explain this further, it's like you go on we see this happen in cycles of dating. Well, someone will go on a first date and they have zero expectations, and it's amazing, right? Like, well, what happened? Well, we went to Santa Monica, went to the pier, we had some wine on the beach, like this amazing experience, and you feel all of these emotions, and it's so incredible, and oh my God, I'm so addicted to this. Well, over time, what happened? Now, how's it going with, Sammy? So, and they're like, hey.
Found out he was hooking up with 10 other girls without
Or
even
Is
telling
this
me.
The Bachelor?
They just don't feel the same anymore. Well, what happened? Well, they go back and they try to recreate these moments that made them feel good.
Right.
That had nothing to do with the person. It was the experience that was created that was their internal projection.
Right.
So I love the feels. I think they're really important. That's just not a really good foundation to build a relationship from. And it's very easy to get lost in that and realize there's a lot more to stable relationships than that.
That's why The Bachelor fails. That's why,
Every
all these
time.
girls are taken on helicopters and
Sure.
off an
It-
island,
no,
and then they
that's-
get home and they're like, I don't know why it's not working out.
That proves my point even further, is that they choose the guys or the girls that have the most chemistry with them, but they're not choosing the
Not
right
really.
long-term partner for them.
Jay, explain that further, because that was a brilliant point. Just what were you trying to make the point there?
Just the point that, you can go on these dates and they can be amazing, and someone can take you at Santa Monica Pier and get wine and drink on the beach, and
We know what you like.
the next time you go to Catalina, and then the next time maybe you take a trip to Big Bear. It's all these like vacations
Fun things,
basically,
yeah.
and then once you get down into the away from the honeymoon phase, that's where the real stuff comes out, and that's where your first impression, you're like trying to keep everything together. You're finally comfortable with the person, and all of a sudden they're like, ooh, I don't know that I like you.
Yep.
Because you start to realize the realness of them.
Well, yeah, the chemistry goes away.
Well, I think
If you-
that's
if-
important to distinguish, right? Like, for me, chemistry can mean something else at the same time. And what we're kind of identifying is, I feel like this saying, love is a drug, right? Like those initial interactions or these kind of grand dates that you go on, they're literally producing chemicals in your body that make you feel happy.
certain kind of
And
way.
yes, exactly. And that's not real life, when that goes away, like that's what more of the realness is. But you can have chemistry and it not be that, And I wanted to come back to Molly here too, because you had a point that you wanted to make.
So when I was talking about how I felt it was a biased opinion, because you're literally basing your whole perspective on chemistry on the fact that your wife did not feel anything for you, in regards to how women really kind of gauge their attraction to men based off of chemistry, whether or not they're enjoying their time with whomever they're hanging out with. And probably that what sparked was because you perhaps bought her dinner and her friends, and she saw you as like a person that can be taken care of from you. So that's kind of like what I'm thinking of, which like when I first meet someone, yeah, there's not going to be like that instant spark or something. But I think that there's always going to be that chemistry between a couple or your friendships or relationships in general that will keep you continuously growing that relationship. So like in Kat's point, she's talking about how, yes, you feel all of this dopamine when you're going on to your adventures or dates that are extravagant, but it's when you come back to like real life, like you can still have chemistry with someone in your home,
100%.
whether or not it's extravagant. It's literally, the chemistry is different. You're still in a synchronized motion with them. They always talk about that same frequency, right? Like, oh, we're on that same page, we're on the same level, we have that same frequency. And I still think that's considered chemistry. But
Yeah.
I think people can feel that instantly, though. It doesn't have to be, oh, I'm in love with this
What I'm
person.
saying is you should be a little bit hesitant when you have it instantly with regards to progressing the relationship. When it's instant, I think
I don't even know
so.
if you need to be hesitant. You just need to be
Aware.
that I'm experiencing a ton of emotion that is being produced because of this experience, and only over time am I going to figure out whether this is sustainable with this person. It's like
Yeah.
the point, like to Molly's point, what Dre was saying, if you got stuck alone on an island with someone, right, and that was the only other male or female on Earth, eventually you are going to probably find a way to connect and hook up because that's the only other male or female on earth, right? There's
Procreate.
or that first experience. So if your first date with someone was on a helicopter and you flew over Hawaii and it was this incredible experience, that is such a high bar that before you understand whether or not that is sustainable, right? You create these incredible experiences, you got to kind of come back down to earth and figure out, well, what is realistic? Because those things aren't sustainable, which is why a lot of times you see relationships like take off and then collapse because what was fueling them wasn't sustainable. But I agree with you. All relationships have chemistry. Chemistry is important. You just can't rely on chemistry to make an intelligent decision on a partnership.
I agree. Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
And here's
It's
the
like-
thing too, because even if you go on a grand date with someone who is taking you on a helicopter and you think it's all good on paper, you might not even feel the chemistry with that person too.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's true.
You
Very
know,
true.
you can go on dates and have really wonderful food and still not enjoy that person.
Enjoy the food.
Enjoy the food,
Enjoy the food,
not the
ladies.
person.
Can I address your point?
Yes.
Like, okay, so when you say that, I've been put in the friend zone, gotten out of the friend zone, no chemistry. You're my brother, gone out of it. I've done this with many girls. They didn't like me at first. It's happened so many times that at this point, it's not just my personal opinion. It's like there's something to this. I think girls need to warm up to people normally, or women or men normally. But sometimes they can feel instant chemistry. Oh, that's instant chemistry. But then what they're doing is they're overvaluing chemistry, and then so that's leading their decisions oftentimes, and that's really wrong because you can have a very similar chemistry with people over time if you extrapolate like the time you know someone over to 6 months, and then look at the guy that you had instant chemistry with, it's probably the same after 6 months, maybe in often cases. But the problem is there's too many women that are making a sole decision on chemistry and then going after that initial dude, and then that dude is like, oh yeah, I'm not really looking for anything, like I'm just chilling, and by the way, I haven't had a relationship in 15 years.
That's boys.
There's a lot of okay. Can we
Dating
just,
is weird.
Let me talk.
Can we
Let's,
just-
Sebastian, distinguish between what boys do in relationships and what men do.
So there's a couple of layers to this, but boys want moms. They're looking for a mom. And we live in a generation of boys who are looking for moms.
How do you know that the boy wants a mom?
Take care of me.
Yeah, it's a lot of...
That's biological. Like men want nurturers. They want.
Please tell me the camera's on his face.
Can we zoom in on that?
Saps, the vast majority of men think that way.
vast
You don't
majority of
think that way.
boys think that
No,
way. But to be clear, let me
Yeah.
explain what a boy is. A boy wants to be taken care of, first of all, and they want their mother. So you will feel like a mother. Now, if you want to be a mother, you may enjoy this on the front run, but you're not going to end up respecting him because he's not a man. He's a boy. He wants you to do everything for him. Wash his clothes.
But why does washing clothes and then cleaning and stuff? Why does that mean I'm a boy? If that's something, like
because you haven't. Let me unpack the entire boy profile.
Go ahead.
Also, boys are more interested in getting laid than they are having a sustainable relationship. So their gearing
Agreed.
is towards driving the behavior of sex, not relationship, which is a different thing. Which is why I would say I would never. It's not impressive to get a guy to want to have sex with you. It's impressive to get a guy to want to commit his life to you.
Yeah,
The biological drive in a guy is to have sex. There's nothing impressive about that. Having a guy go, hey, I want to commit my life to you, that's impressive to me. So if I see that in a guy, we're like, wow, you really are serious about this girl. That says something. But the problem is all the chemistry we're talking about, the behavior that drives is all short term, which is why it is not long lived. And that's the issue. Men want to offer their strength and are looking for partnership. They also generally want to date women, not girls. They'll fuck girls, but they want to date women.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Word.
right. But this needs to be clarified. I feel like a lot of women don't understand this. They think that they're exactly the same. I don't think they're exactly the same. There's probably sexual desires similar, but men are what turns us on is like everything and anything all the time. It's always on.
A tree?
This is what
Very
what you need. So if somebody's following their natural inclination as a man or a boy, whatever, if they're following their natural inclination, I don't think that's a factor of them being a boy or a man. I think that's a factor of them being naturally a male, like a part of the male species.
To clarify this, to make it much easier for you to understand, a boy is going to get something, a man is going to offer something. Boys
Right.
are seeking to get something. Men are going to offer something.
Would it be the same for
looking for-
girls and women?
Yes. Right. Men and women in relationship are looking for reciprocity and partnership. And then you can have incredible sex and a massive chemistry, and it can be incredible. Boys and girls are looking to get something from someone else. How do we know that? Because as soon as they don't get it from one person, they're moving on to the next person. They're trying to fill a void. It's
So what
not
you're
about
saying
the
is
person.
men ignore their natural inclination to just hook up with everything. Like,
Boys.
and then provide value instead, because that's how men are. They want to hook up with everything that moves. That's just our thought. This is just the truth. This is the unvarnished truth.
The male of the species, specifically in mammals, does have a very strong desire to reproduce. It ensures procreation happens in the species.
I like how you make it
exists.
very articulate. You're like,
Well,
this is the
it's-
educational way
It's
of saying
true,
it.
right? That you're right about that. That the male drive to procreate is an important one.
So
because
we'd have to ignore
males-
our nature. We'd have to ignore our nature in order to provide value.
I would say become aware of your biological nature and recognize you are more than your biological nature.
Agreed. Yeah.
And
I mean, you can say the same thing about women too, right? Like we have the one place that is designed specifically for pleasure. And we were talking about this recently of, some of the different studies. And assuming you're referencing the book, what's the name of the book in particular?
Of
Sex
the
Before
test.
Dawn.
Sex at dawn.
Yes,
Or
Sex
whatever.
at Dawn provides a lot of factual information on just drive between the different sexes and kind of history on how that's evolved and how that also applies in the animal kingdom as well. But women are freaky too. So there's
100%.
like both sides of that.
Yeah, that's true. Agreed. I 100% agree with that. But it's like to the 10th degree with dudes. Like,
I hear you, Frank.
Yeah.
I hear you say that men are freaky.
yeah. So, anyways.
So one thing that I was thinking on as well, and I'll air out my dirty little secret, I watched The Bachelorette. Mainly
I
because
used to, but
my
then I
girlfriend
just
loves
couldn't.
it. I know.
couldn't do
I'm
it
to that
anymore.
point where I'm like, I'm not really interested in doing it anymore. But it's a way for me to connect with my girlfriend to like sit down and watch a show. That's just kind of our thing. But one thing that just is kind of laughable to me, like aside from the whole like logistics of the experience, right, is every person as they're kind of expressing, why they like this person or this or that, there's a checklist that's involved. So it's like, oh, do they do this? Yes. Do they do this? Yes. Do they do this? No. Oh, this person I really like. I like that. I'm going to add this to my checklist.
Okay.
What's your guys' opinions on checklists when finding
Pros and
a
cons.
partner?
Can I just ask a question really quick to
Yes.
everyone? Okay. So, why don't we do this? This is what Fresh and Fit does. So, Fresh and Fit podcast. I don't agree with everything they say. Okay, just putting that out there. And I don't like, but they're telling the unvarnished truth. So let me ask you this: what do you think a man's checklist is? And then we'll go over what we think the women's checklist is. So let's start, or you can.
Probably varies a little bit from man to man.
Attraction.
Fit body,
Yeah.
because it means that they care about
Yeah.
themselves.
Hot, attractive.
Dress is nice.
Get it down, Frank. Get it all down.
Does his own laundry.
Can cook,
Yeah.
At
definitely.
least knows how.
Can clean.
Can clean or is clean.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
This is our checklist
I
for the
know.
guys.
Yes.
That's what we think,
Okay.
guys.
Yes.
Our checklist for women.
I
Has
was-
a job.
I was going the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm confused actually.
I was actually going with what girls want from men.
No.
what guys.
They were gonna do it then opposite, and then we're
Oh.
gonna
What
figure
we
out-
Always
think
like, oh wow, that sounds like an
guys-
attractive guy.
I can cook, can do it all. I like it. We're all codependent here.
No. So what guys,
Guys want
would have on their
for us.
checklist for women?
Oh,
can be
so
the
have a
mother
nice
of
bod.
children.
That's what I'm saying. Be fit. Maybe has a nice family. I don't know if that makes a difference.
Okay.
Because
I
you
don't know
don't
if
want
guys really
daddy
care about that.
issues. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
What do we
Guys
have?
don't care
Okay,
about
what did
that.
you write down?
Fit body, can clean, has a job.
Can cook.
Can
Some
cook,
guys
cook.
don't care about the fit body though.
Just say it.
That is true.
No.
So we're just talking about what we think.
But I don't know. We're good. Their perspective.
Okay.
All right, men.
Anything else?
Do we have anything else?
I feel like there's a lot more. But don't get too detailed. Like, must have all 10 fingers and wears nail polish. Like,
Or have matching nail polish.
that's what I
know-
mean. Like, don't be too
Okay.
detailed.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
just the surface area
Okay.
checklist.
Okay. Sebs, first.
Wait, am I to say what I think girls want or what?
See, I was so confused.
What
Well,
is
what-
the
well-
women's checklist for men?
I'll write it down.
For the
Women's
ideal partner.
checklist for men varies
Tremendously.
based on the individual.
I know.
Let's just
in
in
general.
general.
Yeah,
I would
general.
say, is this?
It's
a
very
fuck-
hard to
fuck or
generalize
date?
women. It's very easy
Date.
to generalize
Date.
men,
Date.
by
Date.
the way.
Okay,
To fall in love.
to fall in love date. Okay, so stable career
Mm.
or financial.
Stable career is something that you look forward.
No, I
turns
thought
you-
we-
No.
for guys.
We're all getting so confused, Frank. This
Molly,
is
we're
your
the
fucked
same-
us up,
we're the
Frank.
same-
Okay, so-
I know. That's why I was
Things
so
that-
confused.
Things that girls are looking for in guys that they would want to date:
Okay, go ahead.
stable career,
Yeah.
a car,
A car.
Yes. I don't care what kind of
potentially
car.
does not live with their parents.
Girls' standards are way
Yes.
higher than what you're explaining, by the way, I think.
No, hold on. Keep going.
Good.
I have to be attracted to them, but they don't necessarily have. It appears, in my experience, that women are far less concerned about how good looking the guy is, especially to your point.
It's half and half. Like sometimes
Especially
it
to your
matters,
point.
sometimes
Yeah.
it has no.
If they-
Has to be
but
funny.
If the
Has to
guy
be funny.
continues to pursue them, they'll become more attractive to them because they want to be pursued. So there's something to that. Like I have seen a lot of my friends that are women date guys that they originally said they were, to your point, not attracted to because the guy just continually pursued them and there was something endearing about that. So they have to be attracted to them, but they don't necessarily have to be attractive.
Right.
Frank, you can put some input.
That comes. Those are,
So,
we could get into lots of like little things, but then that's where it breaks off. Those are probably the core. Maybe I'm missing one or two.
so initially, I think what's very attractive to a lot of women is power and status and money. Let's just be honest. You can say you don't want that at all, but power, status, and money are like very attractive
Who are you
to women.
hanging
And
out
like,
with?
what?
No, sorry.
Who am I hanging out with?
Keep going
Us,
with, keep going
apparently.
with
I'm
these
just,
points,
I'm
Frank.
just. So the difference between me and you, Seb, is you cap sometimes, and I never cap, ever. so.
You can tell me if you think I'm capping, but I'm being very sincere in what I'm saying.
Okay, but we're generalizing to most men. You're like very different. You're like the anomaly
Probably
for the most part. Yeah.
He's
For
a
little bit longer.
man.
Yeah. So like, why do like professional athletes? They go into a club and every girl like surrounds them.
Those are girls.
Girls.
Girls. Okay, women. Okay, girls and women.
Bold.
Okay.
Girls.
Okay, but it's still going to intrigue you a little bit if some guy is
No.
super successful. It's not going to intrigue you.
If there wasn't like a initial conversation and I didn't know about it.
If you had an initial conversation, he's super successful. He's famous, right? He's famous. Like, let's think of somebody.
he has to show interest in
Bradley
me first.
Cooper.
I think.
Bradley Cooper walks in. Are you immediately like, oh, I need to feel him out? Or are you like, oh shit, that guy's attractive. I know Bradley Cooper.
If he shows initial interest in me, then I will pursue it. But if he doesn't, I'm not going to pursue something that's not there.
but
Just
we're
because
talking
he
about-
probably gets a lot
But
of
we're just
that.
talking about surface level attraction, like just like
I thought we were talking
basic
about
foundation
dating.
of.
We're talking about dating
attraction.
celebrities now.
I know. We like switching.
We went a little off track
Yeah.
here. Let's
That's a
go
good
back to, talking over a little bit of the checklist, because I think both sides obviously expressed very surface level
Yeah.
Which
checklist items. Like, to me, if I'm evaluating either side of these checklists, that like basically means that a bunch of people are interchangeable.
Right.
Like, as long as you have a job, as long as you do this, then this is going to work out, right? Like, I'm going to be attracted to you. So
Can I add just a few things?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So let's talk about like that's just initial like attraction, but long term, I think stability, security, a man that's going to make her feel safe, Also someone that's willing to help, like not just like long term, like help clean the dishes. Don't just expect me to do the dishes all the time. Help with our child, and don't just expect me to do everything. I think that's important. Being romantic is huge, right? Long term, being romantic, flowers, dates, consistently on an ongoing basis. This is long term, right? So that was like surface level and then long term. So I just want to clarify that.
I don't know if you guys would agree to the sentiment, but to me, it's like throw your checklist out. Like that's something that can be so surface level in identifying like who somebody is. I think that it's really important to know what is your deal breakers, if you will,
That too.
and then really sitting back to evaluate. I'll give kind of a fun example here. I'm going to put you on blast a little bit. So a little birdie told me of something in a past relationship of yours that a thing that drove her crazy was the fact that you will like wait until 5 minutes before you're supposed to leave the house to get ready, and you're like no interest in like I think that's being super punctual and being on like all of these other things and
efficiency,
whatever, if you will. And I can look at that and see that, and it's like, yeah, that's frustrating, but it's not something that to me I'm going to hold on to and be like, you do this. You know what I mean? It's like you add so much value in so many other ways that it's like, oh, okay, those little things that like are annoying from time to time or just little quirks or whatever, like it's not a deal at all. Like that's not even a factor that comes into play. So I don't know, what are your guys' thoughts whenever it comes to like really sitting back and evaluating your must-haves? Like what are the particular qualities, like I guess we'll reverse it now, what are the qualities that us as women are looking for in long-term partners? And then we'll go to the guys.
Before we go there, though, were we accurate? Did we miss anything obvious?
I mean, the whole power status thing.
Oh, that wasn't me. I can't.
I'm not talking you personally, but
No,
like,
I know,
in
but-
general.
You know what? I can't talk to it because I'm not the general
Right.
women public. So I don't know,
Probably
but
not
that's
fair,
just
'cause
really
none of these
weird.
women are-
Yeah. So you
There's
guys are
aspects-
definitely different, 100%.
I think there's aspects of what you said that are important
For
in
sure.
what we evaluate. Like
Ambition.
just speaking for myself here, like
Leadership.
what I want and ultimately what I have is a partner. It's somebody that I know will provide for me, make me feel safe, but also like listen to my heart, understand like who I am, and wants to consistently
Right.
get to know me and connect. And like even when I'm freaking hard-headed and shut down, is constantly going to push to like have that difficult conversation, and it's going to consistently challenge me to grow. Like it's not, relationships aren't easy, and I think that that's
Oh.
something where like people get it in their mind that like, oh, okay, like if all of these things are checked off and we have this chemistry and this and that it's supposed to be easy, and that there's never going to be any challenges that we go through, and like if things get hard and I don't feel good about it, then
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
relationships
this
are
isn't
hard.
going to work.
Very hard.
Right. What about you ladies? What are like qualities that are important to you?
I mean, some that you guys mentioned: stable career, or at least ambition. Car is a good one.
Car is a good
Not living
one.
with your parents is a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know. The way I see it, like I could literally live in a cardboard box with, and preferably not a cardboard box, like maybe in the middle of the mountains with like nothing but a tent or a tree house or something like that. But like as long as I have my person there
Yeah.
that I'm able to connect with on so many different levels, like nothing else really
There's
matters.
difference
Those are
between what
things that
attracts
are
you. Yeah.
like
They make the
kind of
difference.
icing on top
They
of the
make the
cake,
difference.
if you will.
Yeah.
And for me, what he provides for me, I also want to be able to provide back.
Right. Right.
So hold on. So Drake, keep going. Were you done? Did you complete your list?
What else? You know, a plus but not needed is know how to cook. You can always teach that.
That's what I'm saying.
But barbecue at least, you know, play with fire a little bit.
Play with fire a little bit.
Boy,
Play with fire. What?
Barbecue.
barbecuing,
Play with
grilling.
Like some people don't
Yeah.
know how to grill.
I know what you said.
And that's
But
just
it's
like
funny how you
the
put it.
start of a
Play
grill.
with fire. Pyromania.
I feel like on Dre's checklist too is like must drink beer.
No. I could, no, of course not. Like, I could totally have someone that is
Drinks
sober.
water.
That drinks
believe
water.
it.
100%.
I don't believe it.
150%.
So you're going out all
So
the
that
time
they
and
can
you're
drive her
tourist.
back home.
Yes.
I don't-
I think you would
She's drank
think.
all the
Oh
beer.
my gosh, what do you guys think of me? Jesus
Dre, I'm
Christ.
with you.
I don't need someone that drinks. I don't need someone that smokes. Like, those are.
But it's nice to have somebody that wants to drink a Coors with you.
If you want, but it's all about the conversation you're having over that beer, not the beer. You're not going to sit there and go, wow, this
There
is a
you go.
really good glass
Now
of
we're
beer,
getting to
man. Like, no. I think you guys think so low of me. Jesus.
No,
No.
we just know that you
I
love
was just
beer.
looking at you.
That's it.
For me, it
love
would have to
beer.
be someone that is able to be outdoors
Yeah, I was about to
and
say that.
likes
They're-
that.
yeah. Are
Because
they-
I've seen people that just like cannot hang with us out in the desert with the desert people or in the mountains or at the river because you can't wear your makeup in the water. Like, we've had people do that.
I think that's more women than men.
Oh, of course.
What?
You got
What
a lot of
part?
men who wear makeup?
Well, Sebastian doesn't like to wear his makeup when he goes out.
Right.
Yeah. So
I think, I mean, obviously all of our checklists are a little bit different.
Yeah.
Wait, anything else that wasn't said?
I think for me, one of the big things would be friendship. And I feel like I've had to learn that the hard way.
Yes.
But friendship is like by far like so important.
Well said.
And that's like a big number one thing on my checklist for sure. Because I think that with friendship, like you are able to trust that person, have good conversation. And it doesn't have to be anything extravagant. You know, when you hang out with your friends, sometimes you're just hanging out.
Doing
And there are-
nothing.
doing nothing. And there are other times when you are doing something. And I think that there's a lot, I don't know, just a lot of good. It's just knowing that when you do have those hard times,
yes.
it's like we're still friends. Not like breaking up friends, but it's just like there's still a friendship in that, like,
Yes.
Relationship.
that
That's
relationship.
to me, that's the basis
And-
of all sustainable
Yeah,
relationships.
because
Yeah.
you can do everything and anything with this
Yeah.
person. You can have fun, laugh, cry, and like you still have that understanding that everything's okay because the foundation is
Right.
friendship.
Yeah.
And so that for sure is like
A lot
top
of girls
the
like nice
checklist.
guys too. A lot of
Yeah.
guys say girls don't like nice guys, but
Yeah,
it's true.
yeah. But friendship, attraction for sure.
I think so. What?
Yeah.
What'd
You
say?
said that you learned that,
anything.
you know, kind of the hard way or from experience too. Can you speak on, you know, any of the past relationships where maybe that wasn't there? And
Yeah, I mean, I think that to your guys' point, I think that like in the beginning of, like you guys were saying, any relationship, you do go off of like, oh, this is great. And, you know, and that's why I would agree that going off of just that and not thinking soberly, like emotion wise, is hard because you can dismiss that whole. I feel like friendship is the almost like that first step before you move on like further into the relationship. And so if you go off of just those high emotions, you can easily skip through that phase that is like so important. And I feel like I've skipped through that phase in relationships. And so that's why.
Why did you skip through those phases?
Because of the whole high, like,
Of
oh
the
my
feeling.
God, this is great, like
That's
kind of
exactly
thing.
my point.
Yeah.
And I'm, interestingly, and I don't know why, I'm the exact opposite. I'm really
Yeah.
slow to warm up. Like, I have to get to know you, and there has to be a friendship before I'm ever interested in you in any other way. Like, friendship for me is the foundational part that determines everything else, which is why, like, once you're in my inner circle, you're in my inner circle. And I look at life differently once you're in that. It's like, friendship is the basis of everything. Because other than that, like, I don't
It's
know.
true. With our relationship, you were like that.
I'm like that in general. I'm also Scorpio, so that might be part of it.
I'm definitely
Definitely part of
you're definitely the girl in this relationship, and I'm the guy for sure. Because I pursued you for a long time.
That's cute.
That's so funny.
I did. I pursue. But I'm not annoying person. I don't unknowingly pursue. I could teach a class on that too.
Smell,
All right.
Anything to add?
Yeah.
For which part exactly? Or
Is there anything from a guy standpoint that we didn't talk about? that was
Yeah.
important?
about women? Like what they, or
What are some
women
things
want.
in
Anything we
particular?
didn't cover that you're like, well, this is important too.
Well, you're newly married, newly happily married to a
Congratulations.
person that we all love. If anything, what are some particular qualities in Charles that made you decide, like, this is the one?
Oh, that's a good question.
That is a great question. I felt very safe with him.
Great.
How?
So being comfortable with him, so we instantly kind of moved in together right when we started becoming roommates, whatever. And I liked the fact, it was funny because I love the fact that he was very clean.
She referred to him as her roommate for
I
the
did.
longest time.
Which we were.
Oh my gosh, I remember
Friend,
that.
Roommate, my roommate.
We were never, because I never liked that term, especially for how old I was. I didn't like having a boyfriend. I kind of just wanted to be a roommate. Like I literally
Right.
was like, we're roommates until we were engaged, and now we're
Right.
fiancés and like wives and husbands. But what I really enjoyed about Charles was the fact that I felt safe, comfortable, like I can be together with him without needing to have to, what's the word, like entertain him. It
Right.
was just like being with him. A quality that I absolutely loved about him as well was just his willingness to always strive to get better as well. So to me,
Love that.
because I am very independent, I would like to say, as a woman, and I never really wanted him to have to take care of me. Like that was like I wanted him to take care of himself, which he is, which is a very attractive quality. Like I don't need to be his mom,
Independent.
So
Yeah.
that's important to me.
Is,
like
is he buff?
he has a nice body. Like it's funny
Grace says
because
safe multiple times. Something. Maybe
Well,
he's a
he's-
big dude.
no,
He's fit,
he's fit. He's like skinny, or I don't want to say skinny fit because he gets probably
Offended.
offended by that, but he's not built bulky. He's just really fit, like lean. Like if you think I think rock climbers, like all rock climbers to me are very lean and fit. Like he has a rock climber body.
Is he tall?
He's tall-ish. I
can
think
meet
he's
Charles.
like 5'9". 5'9" is, I'm 4'11" and 7/8", so he seems really tall.
Right.
And 7/8.
And 7/8. Yeah, so he seems really tall. I don't know, instantly, it's funny, I'm thinking about it now. When I first met him, his first initial thing that he said was, I'm an asshole. Like, that is what he said. Like, everyone, yeah, I'm an asshole. Everyone
lead
thinks I'm
off.
an asshole. And I'm like, oh, God, he must
that's
be
a
an
good lead
asshole.
off.
So he's very sarcastic. Like, if you get to know him a little bit more, his humor is dry. Like, sometimes you're just like, are you being funny? Or like, is this really truth that's coming out of your mouth, but you're kind of playing it as a joke? But I enjoyed that because I do like sarcasm. But then nowadays I'm like, why are you being mean? Oh, it's a joke, baby. I'm like, oh, okay.
Did you think he was a player?
No,
No.
not at all. No, I felt like I was a player.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
because I was dating. I was dating at that time when I met Charles. Like I was actually dating a couple of people, and I actually ghosted people while I met Charles.
Molly.
And I know
not good.
it's not good, but that was
kidding,
kind of
just
the
kidding.
game that was being played. Like I got ghosted a few times while while I was in the dating world. Like
Yeah.
I wondered what the heck I did wrong,
Ghosting sucks.
Ghosting sucks, and you're just like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I don't really care about this person. I just wanted to never mind.
I'm going to stop talking while we're here.
But when I met Charles, it was kind of like, okay, cool. He's awesome. He's nice. I just remember the first time he did take me out on our date because he asked me what kind of food I liked, and I love sushi. So he was like, can I take you out on your date? Like,
sushi.
let's go get sushi. And we did. So we had a great conversation. Like literally that night, I felt like we had a 3-hour dinner just because we continued talking. And yeah, I
Did
don't
I feel
know.
like it only lasted 20 minutes? And it was
Yes.
3 hours?
Yeah. I'm like,
Those are the best dates.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to lists, though, I had a woman I met in Park City randomly many years ago that had been married, at the time almost 20 years, had 7 kids. She was Mormon. Big family.
Wow. How old
But I
is
had asked her, I said, what, 20 years married, 7 kids, like she seemed very happy. like any advice. Like, how do you pull this off? And she gave me one of the most perfect pieces of advice that I tell people all the time in relationship. It was just very wise. She said, before my husband and I married, initially when her husband asked her to marry him, she said no, but with like a, let me think about it, not like no, like she just wanted to take the time to really think about what her decision was. And she said she literally sat down with a yellow pad and wrote a pros cons list. And I'm like, oh wow. But the brilliance isn't in the pros cons list, it's what she did with it. So she wrote down everything she liked about him, and she wrote down everything she didn't like about him. And she went through the list of everything she didn't like about him, and as she said, as long as I could cross everything off that list, I was okay marrying him, because I had to go into it knowing or assuming he wasn't going to change and I wasn't going to force him to change. So I had to be
That's a really healthy perspective.
I had to be willing to live with these things. And then she said, I no longer have an excuse to give him shit about these things. I fully knew what I was marrying.
Right.
So in herself, she had resolved, I'm not going to give him crap about this. I knew this is who he was going into it.
Yep.
It was such a brilliant perspective.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
A lot of times we fuck up relationship because we're trying to change the person into something else, or the person feels like they aren't good enough the way they are. They need to be something else because we have an agenda. And very often that drive to change the person is because we're seeking or trying to secure our own safety or make us feel better.
They become the person you didn't fall in love with then. And then you stop loving them,
acceptance
and it's your
versus-
fault.
Well, yeah, what you're saying is brilliant, and you see this happen a lot in relationships where the very things that we found attractive about the person, we then try to kill. Right? For instance, the guy's attractive, he's flirty, he's ambitious, and you love all that about him until he's yours. And now it's, well, if he's those things, he's not with me, he's out in the world. Other people are going to find him attractive. So now I'm going to attack those things, try to control those things to keep him from
that's a
being that.
really-
Like common
really
things that women will
incredibly
change. You meet a guy and you find it very attractive that he works really hard. So he's at the office, or he's, on a job site or whatever until nighttime. And so he's not home, and you're like, well, it's really cool because he works really hard. And then he has boys' nights. That's cool because then I have my time.
Right.
And then once you start dating them, or they go to the gym. They go to the gym all the time, so they look really good. And then you date them, and you're like,
Exactly.
well, we were supposed to have dinner tonight, and you didn't get home till 7:30, 8 o'clock at
Right.
night. What the heck? So you start to change
That's-
that. You start to get mad.
That's a really pernicious thing I think that people do
Pernicious.
to each. Yeah, pernicious. It's a good word, right?
Word of the
I
day.
like it.
Drop it in there.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
I think you've been waiting all day to drop
Pernicious.
that.
I don't know what it means.
I don't either, but it sounds really good.
Sounds provocative.
Pernicious.
It's like toxic in society. So men, men do this to women, women do this to men. But yeah, they see the attractive qualities and they try to repress those qualities. Like men could try to feed women more like unhealthy food.
Because they might think it's more of a threat, like you're saying. Like they
Exactly.
don't want you to go to the gym because then you're so hot, and other women might find you hot,
Eat
and
more.
all of this stuff.
Right.
Okay, so why don't we talk? So, Kat, what do you like in Sebastian?
Well, that was
All the things.
I feel like I shared already.
it was talked about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely
You missed
have
it. You weren't listening.
Oh, sorry.
All the things that she values.
What Dre's bringing up is huge to realize, because very often you'll end up killing the thing you were attracted to out of
Right.
fear and insecurity.
That is really like a horrible, thing.
But I, this is very common. If you watch people
relationships.
behave in relationship, they very often, in a fear of losing the person or other people finding them attractive, they will try to kill the very things about them that are attractive. The problem is that if they succeed, they're not attracted to them anymore. Right? And then there's a high level
Okay.
of resentment.
What was the thing that most attracted you to Sebastian when you first met him?
Probably his heart to help people.
Okay.
What was the most attractive thing that you found in your wife now when you first met her? Why were you so instantly attracted to her?
She's very hot.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. That's it. But then I had a long day that day, and I came off as weird, and she thought I liked her friend for some reason. Yeah. So she was like, he's not worth it, and it's kind of weird. So so she ignored my calls for like weeks, and didn't want to go out. multiple times. So I was like, all right, next move is to get her friends. No, not get her friends, like not like that, but like ingratiate
over.
myself to them so they would go, hey, why aren't
What's
you
that
going out
Spice
with
Girls
them?
song?
If you want to be my gotta get with my friends.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna make it a group thing, so it takes the pressure off of her thinking like I want something more, right? So it's gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna invite all her friends. I knew her friends too. It's like I'm gonna invite all her friends. We go out to dinner. Was like, all right, I like killed my introvert and was like, all right, I'm gonna be extrovert. I'm gonna make all of them like me, and then I'm gonna pay for everyone's dinner at the end. And it was not cheap. And they were like, oh my god, why aren't you going out with him?
Have you done that again, or was that just the first time? Like, where you've taken out her and all her friends?
She's the girl that I really wanted to figure it out with. So
Yeah.
I didn't really go to that extreme with a lot of other girls.
Oh, no. Like with your wife. Like, have you done it again where you go
Yeah.
out to dinner and take out
We've got
all
to
her friends?
Disneyland. Yeah.
With all
Friends.
of her friends.
With all
With
of
all
her
friends?
friends.
Yeah.
Can you invite them? Well
Cool.
played.
Very nice.
Can we be
Because I was
friends?
going to say that like falls into that camp, right? Where you do all the things right in the beginning and then you don't do it ever again.
Well, it's
So-
important for us. I know that's important.
That's
so,
cool.
yeah.
I think it is some of the most fascinating stories for me is to watch what men are willing to do in the service of courting a woman. Everything from conquering countries to traveling across treacherous mountains. There is an internal drive that once it's activated, there is no stopping.
I
They're
think there's
either
less of
gonna
that
get it or die.
nowadays. I think there's more boys than
Quit
men
killing
these
my
days.
idealism.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yes, there are more
There,
boys.
there needs to be more men that chase, I think.
But what about
Sorry.
being rejected?
So, what kind of qualities do you guys look for in a partner in particular?
What kind of partner are we talking about?
A lifelong partner, somebody that you're going to be
Love partner.
Love.
building
So
with.
opposites, the old saying opposites attract isn't
True.
true. It's true when it comes to personality very often. Opposite personalities will attract. It is not true when it comes to values. There has to be alignment in values. The three indicators of lasting relationship: shared vision, meaning we want the same things, we're moving towards the same thing. Shared values, meaning the way we're going to achieve those things lines up. We want the same things. And then shared conflict resolution. The way we deal with conflict is synergistic.
Right.
But a lot of relationships die because we don't know how to deal with conflict. And so what happens is the relationship starts off great, but over time, every little conflict puts another brick in this wall. And in the beginning, you don't ever really feel it or experience it. But then over time, those bricks get higher and higher and higher. And the relationship,
Right.
there's a zone now of where both parties, we don't even realize they're doing it very often. There is a kind of area that they'll stay in when it comes to conversation and behavior around each other because they don't want to venture out into the fucking minefield of unresolved issues. And the relationship gets smaller and smaller and the bricks get higher and higher. How you resolve that is by having a way, an intentional way in which you deal with conflict. So for me, on a partnership level, obviously all those things have to be there. Shared vision, shared values, shared communication style are all really important.
What about you, Frank?
I'm just going to use fresh and fit because it's like they speak to a lot of men. Feminine, fit, and friendly.
Feminine.
and friendly.
So you like a woman
Interesting.
feminine, fit,
Fit
and friendly.
And friendly.
But some women that are fit don't look so feminine.
Yeah. Yeah, so that plays
So what
into
do
You
you
it.
gotta
mean?
have both.
You
Yeah,
mean
it's
like
both.
makeup and their hair's done, or what does that mean?
Acts like a girl.
Let's talk personality-wise because there's a lot of things that I
Got
could
it.
say about
Okay.
like
Feminine.
externalities. Personality-wise, so this is my thought, and actually this is statistics on this, but more women are agreeable than men. Psychological studies have been done that women are more agreeable. They want to not rock the boat so much with regards to just relationships and in general. And I think men are really attracted, not all men, but most men are attracted to a woman that lets him lead, that doesn't want to be argumentative all the time. Like when I feel like when a girl in general or women is antagonistic with me, it feels like I'm not attracted to that, like at all. But they can disagree. Like my wife like disagrees with me all the time. But she's also feminine and follows my lead in many circumstances.
Are you saying feminine or almost submissive?
Great point.
Hmm.
Because some guys
how
like the
honest I wanna be.
domination of someone else.
I think I don't know because it's if I say it's submissive, I think a lot of guys want a submissive woman, but my wife's not submissive at all. So it's like I'm very attracted to her, but she's not. So I would say for me personally, it could be half and half, like half submission, half not. But I think for a lot of men,
So is
that's
that
they
what
like.
you meant by feminine?
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like
Got it.
one person has to lead, the other person.
So
It's fine.
when I think of feminine, I don't think of submissive at all.
No.
The feminine is fucking
Nurturing.
chaos. It is, and that's not a negative.
Chaos.
It's a chaotic energy. It's a creative energy. Think Shiva. Think who am I forgetting?
Parvati?
Kali, Kali Ma,
Shiva is
Parvati,
the
god of war and destruction. Anyway,
Shiva is male.
but feminine energy, I think, is really beautiful. And I think of feminine that has more to do with stylistically how they behave, not submission. I don't equate femininity and submission.
Statistically, women are more agreeable. Statistically, studies tons.
That
So
might-
you
that
call
may-
that
That may
feminine.
be, but I'm
We're talking about the terms
Clear-
that you're
yeah.
using.
Okay.
feminine to me is a stylistic way of communicating and how you show up energetically. Perhaps being more submissive is part of that, but that is not what I equate femininity to.
Oh yeah, I
Just-
don't equate all of femininity to being submissive. Of course.
Yeah, I think Frank was just trying to give like some high level of what he's looking for and kind of summarizing it. He wasn't saying that all of femininity is
Yeah,
this, but he
yeah.
does like that his wife is her own person, is very strong-willed, but also has the ability to like take a step back and adapt to
Yeah.
the partnership and what your needs are as well.
Yeah.
But we're getting close to the end here, so just kind of recapping a couple of things. First and foremost, don't get caught in the facade,
List-making.
in the feelings, in the love drug, if
Enjoy
you
that.
will.
Just don't try to kill that. Enjoy it.
It's not that there's anything wrong with that, but don't take that as your only
Decision
premise for making your decision on if this is going to be your partner or not. Be able to take a step back and evaluate from more of a non-emotional standpoint of, hey, this is what it is, right? This is a natural occurrence that's going to happen with any person right off the bat. Number two, evaluate your list. Pros and cons may be a better solution as opposed to just a checklist per se of items that you're looking for in people. We've both kind of gone over like, hey, what our ideal person, partner is. But I'd like to leave off with this final topic. How do we attract that? How do we find or manifest, if you will, our ideal partner?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Stop looking for them.
How do you stop looking for them?
Be the person
Get
that
off
you
the
wanna
dating
be.
apps.
That's good. That's good women.
don't be
advice.
on
That's not a
dating
good man
apps.
advice. Because no woman's
Boys.
Okay.
Boys.
Girls or women are not going to approach dudes for the most part. So to say that to a guy, it's probably better for you to say that to a girl, but not to a
Well,
guy.
and granted, last year where things were shut down, and for the most part, some of the nation is still kind of shut down. It's
You don't have
probably
any other
hard
options.
to be able to go out to the bar and
Right.
hang out or go get coffee, whatever. So I guess it's to each their own. Yeah.
But looking is when you're putting yourself out there and you're looking for something, it's much easier to kind of force the issue or to settle. I think when you let be, work on yourself, focus on being the person you want to date, holding those values, being the person of character that will hold that. And then as for a dude, I coach a lot of men in their 20s. It's very simple. Go be what women go be successful and in
Yes.
all the ways
Focus on your
that
money. Yeah.
be physically fit, take care of your body, become a success, and all the other shit that you want is going to come to you, including women. You don't have to go hunt for them. And a lot of guys spend a lot of fucking energy early in life looking for women. Women will look for you once you get to a certain level of the game. So invest in that. Take care of yourself. Quit chasing somebody and develop and grow yourself, and all of that will come with it.
Here, here. I agree with that.
But I think
Agree.
you and I had talked recently on a drive about energy that people give off as well, and like certain,
Yeah, you are.
let's just say, like terrible scenarios that happen for women of, getting raped or being in abusive relationships, and they like continue to bring that back around.
Yeah.
So how do you, maybe evaluate if that's something that is within you that you need to change, and then change that?
So if you're continually dating the same kind of person over and over again, the only thing all of those people have in common is you, which means there is something in your likely subconscious that is geared towards being attracted to a particular kind of person that you may or may not even be aware of. Very often that comes back down to very emotional experiences, very memorable experiences in our life. Very often that's our childhood. So it's not uncommon for a woman to be attracted to somebody that is a lot like their father. It's not uncommon for a man to be attracted to somebody that's a lot like their mother. There are, of course, exceptions to this, but more often than not, those attributes show up and how they were imparted. But then if you had trauma in your life, you have, daddy issues or mommy issues that show up, then they start to play into the need that you're trying to get met in the relationship. And that's where you get hung up, is that
You can get past it.
you can, but
Yeah.
if there's a prevailing need that you're trying to get met that's overriding logic or, common sense, then you're going to make behavioral choices that are going to confuse yourself and the people around you. Like, why do you continue to go to this kind of person? Well, that kind of person is meeting a very particular need that is unresolved within you. So if you can find a way to get that whole or healthy, you're gonna do yourself a big service. And that's the whole thing. Two broken people will not make a whole person.
Correct.
Right? It takes two whole people to make a whole relationship. And very often in society, it appears that we're trying to fill the holes in our own person with somebody else. And that creates a freaking mess.
So I think that's, maybe one of the most important things to leave off with here. Like, you have to complete yourself. Don't be looking for somebody else to complete you. Like, take that same checklist and make sure that you're
Yes.
checking off the list of everything that you expect from somebody else, and do the work.
Love
Work
that.
on yourself mainly. And then everything else will come.
Agree.
Awesome. Well, that wraps it up. We appreciate you guys tuning in today. Please comment back if you like this, if you'd like for us to dive deeper into topics like this in the future, and we'll see